Enter the pit!
Unanimous decision. In the red corner, Davis, the Rage Fareed. The blue corner, Jonathan, the Young Blood Bro.
Dennis Day.
Gabriel, the toughest animal, Sarah.
Is that the Wolverine, the toughest animal? It's got to be, right?
It's very interesting to see what his approach is to this bout tonight.
Rock and roll.
Get our official decision.
Unanimous decision in the red corner, Gabriel, the toughest animal, Sarah. In the blue corner, Maximo Nunez. Red corner, Teak, the Black Dragon Silva. Fighters, enter the pits. Your winner in a split decision. In the blue corner, Maximo Nunez. In the blue corner, Jesus, the Beast, Lopez. The red corner, Gabriel Stancunes. Enter the pit. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition, your post-game edition of the evolution of sports talk television. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show on this Victory Sunday afternoon? A little bit too close for comfort. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Phone lines are open. Want to hear from you Bucs fans because I know some of you out there are not satisfied with this victory. Although a win is a win, but it is a little bit inexcusable, if you will, to get up 21-0 on a Falcon team that is, like our buddy here, Troy Polamalu says, mediocre. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. A little bit disappointing, but once again, a win is a win as your Tampa Bay Buccaneers take care of business over the Atlanta Falcons 21-15. Going for two kind of looks pretty good right now, doesn't it, Buc fans? Of course, some controversy, if you will, to end the game or later on in the game, where it is an egregious call by the refs. Which, by the way, congratulations today, refs. You stink. And I know what people are going to say, that the Bucs got second life on the Tom Brady penalty there, where, in my opinion, it's a makeup call. Because the play before that, the defender for the Atlanta Falcons is face guarding. He makes contact with Scotty Miller. It should have been a pass interference penalty, and instead, absolutely nothing. Now, I didn't necessarily agree with the penalty versus Grady Jarrett. It looked like a pretty good sack, but at the end of the day, most likely it's a makeup call, and they're going to protect quarterbacks. And if you watch the replay, it certainly seems like Jarrett, rolls him over, puts him into the ground, but we've seen a lot worse not called in this game. So the Bucs do get a break. And who did they go to get the eventual first down to close them out? Mike Evans. I'll see you later, Mom. There you go. Hanging out with the family here on the Sports Web. So get on the phone lines. I want to hear from you. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. We'll go out to the comments after the Bucs win to go to 3-2. I know it's not everything you wanted, Bucs fans. You wanted a blowout, but a win is a win. And for the majority of the day, I think you would have to agree that this Buccaneer defense really showed up. So let's go out to these comments to start off the day. Nee says, woo. So we're giving the woo. Thank you very much for tuning in. Dave says, sloppy game in the second half. That is not an elite team. Although it didn't help matters with losing three players in that secondary. And a Carlton Davis with a hip injury. And an SMB with an injury. With a Mike Edwards. So that definitely doesn't help out. But it certainly seemed like the Bucs, after they went up 21-0, went to sleep at the wheel. So I agree with you. They still got lots of things to work on. But anybody saying Tom Brady is washed up, I don't think so. I don't think he's distracted, not one bit. In fact, you take a look at the numbers here with Mr. Tom Brady, 33 for 52, 351, 1 touchdown. Pretty good today. Pretty good, and that's exactly what this Buccaneer team needed. So we could talk about his performance. Leonard Fournette, I thought, was really good today, especially in the passing game. This player has definitely improved over since he got here with catching the ball. They needed that today. You had Evans with some big catches, so we'll talk about it with you here on the Evolution. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Roger. God, I hate the Bucs. And you know what? I'll acknowledge you.
Acknowledge me.
And then I'll also tell you this.
Shut up.
And yet you still watch. That's what it's all about. Tribal troll there in Newport Richie. Let's go out to Troy Polamalu. They beat a mediocre Falcons. Nothing impressive. A win is a win. I'm sorry. You're not going to be satisfied. Seriously. All right. Let's go out to Matt. Matt, leading it off here from Oklahoma. Welcome to the Evolution. Your thoughts on the Bucs moving to 3-2. Go for it.
Why the hell can you put a knife back of the team that we're whooping for 3 quarters and treat them like an ugly dog and knock them out of the damn yard?
I don't know. I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and blame injuries, but it doesn't help to lose 3 secondary members, right? I mean, you're losing 3 players like a Carlton Davis, like an SMB. It's not like Mariota passed all over them. We talked about the rushing game. We talked about how one-dimensional this Falcon team is. And you're exactly right. The offense doesn't help the situation. Even with those great Brady numbers, you have 3 straight 3-and-outs. It's not going to get done. You have to have your foot on the pedal. So I tend to agree with you. But once again, we know how difficult it is, Matt Coulson, to win in the National Football League.
Yeah, but we were whooping them.
I agree.
We were whooping them.
I agree.
Whatever. And they did this last year. They've done this the last 2 or 3 years that I've been watching them.
Correct.
They get the hand on the throat, and then it's like, no, we're not going to do that. We'll let you come back in it.
Right.
And I'm going to throw this at you.
Sure, go for it.
Secondary got hurt during the time that we went 3-and-out. So if we'd have held on to the damn clock, there's a possibility those guys don't get hurt because it all happened in unison.
Well, it seemed like they certainly abandoned the running game, if that's what you're talking about, yes.
Well, we just need to – I don't know. Teresa Baker used to say,
sure.
just kill them.
Just finish it. Right. Exactly. And give
And-
credit to where credit is due, right? I mean, it goes back to what Leo Haggerty, the legend, says on this show. That other team is paid also, and Arthur Smith is going to get everything he can get out of the Falcons. They're going to play tough. They're going to hang around. But yes, you're exactly right. When you got them down 21-0, you should basically have that killer instinct to put them out. And let's face it, all day long, even that first half, when they went in with a 13-0 lead, there's a lot of Bucs fans that are texting me, which is okay. You can do that. Get into my inbox and talk to me about the Bucs when they're winning or when they're losing and when you feel like they should score more points. But you get stopped on fourth down. I mean, that's been the key there. You leave points off the board. You get nothing off of a long drive. So, honestly, the Bucs should have been up 20, 21-0 in halftime, and you're only 13. So credit to where credit is due. The Falcons are able to hang around, and they did that all day long today.
Yeah, but that first fourth down you're talking about 6 inches.
No, I know.
And
I know. And I like the call. A lot of people say, "We'll take the points at that juncture." No, you need to once again step on their throat. Basically establish your dominance. If you can't get a 1 yard gain, then what are we talking about? And during that first half, I thought the Falcons outplayed the offensive line. The offensive line wasn't that good, but I thought the spot was also a little bit bad. A couple times there, I thought the Bucs got the first down and didn't achieve it. So that was disappointing in itself, but that offensive line at some point really has to start to take over. You have to start to see that, not only in the passing game with protecting Brady, because they did a good job of that today, but also with the run game. You have to establish your dominance, and there's points in this game where you don't see that.
Right. But you're talking about offensive line that, it's not the team we had last year where everybody that retired and went on to other teams and all that.
Correct.
That rebuilding mode that we're in, that's going to show itself for the first month and a little bit more, I think.
I don't necessarily think they're rebuilding. I think they've had injuries, right? I mean, you lose Ryan Jensen, you lose Ali Marpet to retirement. You have a lot of new pieces on the offensive line. There were some good things today, defensive line-wise. A lot of people screaming for Sue. I thought Logan Hall played his ass off today. I thought Joe Tryon-Shoyinka played his ass off today. This defense did a good job, but of course it is, it's disappointing because you expect this team defensively to have that shutout with the way they played all day long. And we knew coming into this, Matt, that Marcus Mariota, the game plan was to keep this guy in the pocket, contain him, don't let him get out, and force him to beat you. And unfortunately, you give up 15 points in that fourth quarter. It's inexcusable. If you're a top defense, you have to do a better job. But I thought overall, defense played a lot better than Kansas City. Although, again, people will say, well, Kansas City's an elite team. And the Bucs are not, and the Falcons are mediocre. So I understand that.
We didn't play the F-22s. We played a bunch of, Cessnas out there today compared to what you got in Kansas City. But we were winning.
That's it. You win. I mean, come on, let's go.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let's go. I mean, that's the wrong one right there. There we go. Fire the cannons right there, as I'm a little bit off today. But I'm excited. I mean, I think you have to be excited about this win. After losing 2 straight, you couldn't lose. And look, I got to ask you, because I know, Matt, you watched this game. What was your thoughts on that late fourth quarter, those calls? One, Scotty Miller clearly was pass interfered with. They don't call it. The refs need to go to lens crafters and get their eyes checked because it's clearly an interference. And then I felt like they made up for it with the Brady call.
That was the same sideline referee that let the Scotty Miller play in the first half go proper.
Yes.
He got down and put his face on the ball and whatever.
Right.
And then turn around at the end and everything you weren't that makes it illegal, he did. And they didn't call it. Yeah. But I don't think that Brady was rushed. I don't think Brady was past where they went down the call where they said they were roughing the passer. That wasn't roughing the passer. No. I mean, Tua took a shot.
Right.
That was roughing the passer.
And that's what it kind of looked like a little bit. If you look at the replay, and maybe I'm splitting a little bit of hairs here, but if you look at it, it looks like the defender is kind of, throwing him down. His helmet hits the ground. So they're trying to protect quarterbacks. And right now, let's face it, right? The NFL is kind of under fire with the way they're treating concussions.
Yeah, and that's why they called that particular play was called for that very reason. Brady put his helmet on the ground. He kept his head off the ground. But the form of the sack was the same type to put Tua on a gurney. And they're not going to tolerate that anymore. They had that issue on in the Colts game where the running back got up and looked like, Marinette with nobody holding him up. He just wobbled all over the place.
Right.
And they said, well, we're not going to let that go anymore. And they're putting the caution on the let's overdo it.
Correct.
Rather than underdo it.
Correct.
And I think that's the right thing to do. I think in this situation, Brady benefited from that.
Sure.
I don't think 2 years ago Brady would have got that call, and I don't think he should have today. But they're overly cautious, and that's okay. We won the game. The Saints lost.
Did the Saints lose? I heard the Saints won.
Oh, I got it backwards. They won.
Yeah, there was no defense in that game, by the way. Defense optional. I saw the later half of it. Geno Smith, I don't know what you're doing. It's 3rd and 2. He's trying to make a play. He's holding the ball way too long. Either get rid of the ball. You cannot take a sack. And in that situation, Smith does take a sack. So the Saints live to fight another day. But Lattimore also banged up in that game. Mike Evans' favorite player to go against. He was banged up in the game. So.
Yeah, he tore an abdomen muscle. So
did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
So we're leading the division.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to stay. Anybody is freaking out right now. The one thing you can take solace in is that if we don't win the division, then the gods hate us because everything's lining up for us to just make it through the season and peak at the end of the year, and we will be in the playoffs. It's just going to happen.
Love it. Good stuff. All right, let me give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let me give you the Ric Flair. Woo! Anything else, Matt?
No, just don't freak out. We didn't look great. We didn't kill them like I wanted them to, but we got the W. What matters, and we'll do it again next week, and we'll see what happens.
Love it, Matt.
So, you guys have a good week?
Yes, sir. Use that second call, my friend, whenever you want to, and definitely don't be a stranger on the Evolution, all right?
All right. You have a good night.
All right, let's go out to Ed. Ed, your thoughts? Bucs moving to 3-2 here as they survive the Atlanta Falcons 22-15. Go.
Hey, man. I love the game. Two guys really stand out for me. That was White, that tight end. Was it Ottman or something?
Cade Otton, yes. He had a big day for them, yes. Big.
Yeah, he goes, those guys stepped up. They should get game balls.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you something.
Sure.
Now, I know they got away with some calls too.
Sure.
But that call, that personal foul call where Brady got hit with the ball in his hands.
Mm-hmm. What
do you think of that?
The late fourth quarter, I don't think it was. Yeah. I don't think it was a personal foul. I think it was a makeup call for the pass interference call that they missed on the defender. I think it was Alford on Scotty Miller. I don't think that.
Yeah.
But again, the emphasis has been the last couple of weeks in the National Football League, protect the quarterback and also concussion. And if you watch the replay, it certainly seems like or looks like the defender kind of puts, and that would be Grady Jarrett, puts Brady into the ground. Would I have called it? No. Would it gotten called? I don't think so. It's a controversial call because basically at that point it gives the Bucs new life. If you don't get that call, the Falcons get back the ball and they have an opportunity to win the game.
Exactly. That's exactly what I thought.
So, Bucs fortunate, but again, the refs today, terrible, consistently terrible. Need to take a trip to the eye doctor to get their eyes checked because there are plenty of missed calls. But we know this every given week. The refs are terrible, and they were consistently terrible today.
Well, if the Bucs would have lost this game because of that call, you couldn't blame it on the refs.
No, you couldn't blame it on the refs, but you definitely were blaming on effort at the end of the day. And you have to play. You have to play a full 60 minutes, right? I mean, we talk about it all the time. And
That's
when you got a team down 21-0. You have to keep your foot to the pedal. You have to keep their foot on the neck, and they didn't do that. And they let a team that is coming in here was feisty and it's going to play, and it's come down to that this year for this Falcons team. They've lost some close games. They've been in every game. They really have not gotten blown out all season long, and we knew that if you could get up on them, you should be able to basically finish them, and the Bucs weren't able to do that.
I know, man. I was really getting a little nervous there. At the end.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Ed. I'm with you. Same thing.
Did you go to the game, or were you watching at home?
I was here. I was here with family, kind of celebrating, still celebrating my birthday week because I really didn't get a chance to see them all week. Saw them on Tuesday night, but they wanted to come in, watch the football game. We watched the football game together. We liked the first 3 quarters. We even liked that fourth quarter, but then after that, it kind of went downhill, and it was a little bit nerve-wracking at that juncture. Absolutely.
It was very irritating to watch.
Yes,
I'll tell you that.
yes.
I was like, are you going to let these guys back in this game?
You can't. You can't. And, and again, we saw it last week, right? I mean, you've got to play you got to play 4 quarters of football, and if you don't do that, then any team will beat you. Last week was totally different with Kansas City, but again, you've got to put out your best effort.
Let's face it, Kansas City was a better team.
Right.
I mean, we played against a team that's not as good as Kansas City.
I agree.
So,
and that's what's so disappointing about even a win at this point with a lot of Bucs fans out there. They felt like you're up 21 to nothing at the end of the day. You should win that game, 28-7 or something along those lines. And instead it comes down to the fourth quarter in that last drive. So what else?
Appreciate that. That's basically it, bro. Go Bucs. I'm very excited about the win. We got some help from the Giants yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Giants today, the Giants took care of business today, beating the Green Bay Packers. Now, Big Blue is 4-1, and they're for real. And Packers, they got some problems.
I do believe we have to play them. So
well, I
gonna be scary.
think we have to play the Giants this year. I'm not sure. I have to check the schedule. I haven't looked that far ahead yet. I'm not sure if you play the Giants or not. We'll see. But that Giants team right now, well, Brian Daboll definitely has them going in the right direction. Good stuff, Ed. Let me go ahead and give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let me give you the Ric Flair. Appreciate the call. As always, use that second phone call if you like to, as your Tampa Bay Buccaneers go on to go to 3-2 as they defeat the Atlanta Falcons. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go back out to these comments here. Dave says Arians had more of an impression than he was taking credit for. Something is off with this team. I'm not sure something is off. Do they have that killer instinct yet? Again, lots of new faces, not only offensively, but defensively. You have injuries. We've talked about it all year long. It crept up today. Very fortunate. You lose 3 secondary guys in that fourth quarter. It doesn't help your defense out. It also doesn't help that your offense goes 3 and out. You have to establish those drives to keep your defense off the field, and they weren't able to do that. Am I ready to say there's something missing? I'm not ready to say that. Again, we have not seen this team fully healthy all year long. I think that's what it comes down to for me. Am I ready to panic? No. Am I disappointed that they didn't win this game by more points? Yes, of course. When a team is up 21-0, you should win the game 28-7 or 31-7, something along those lines. And the Bucs were not able to do that today. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Good comment any way it goes, so I'll fire the cannons. Let's go out to Troy Polamalu. Did you all see Brady nagging at the ref for the flag because he got sacked? Boo-hoo, Brady, ice up, son. He was also upset before the half there, which somebody has to explain that play to me because the Bucs should have been able to get that play off, although they had Ryan Suckup on the field, so it may have been 12 men on the field for the Bucs. But what the Bucs were trying to do at that juncture is trying to get a first down and trying to sneak something on the Falcons, and the Falcons were able to substitute. And what Brady was telling the refs is they can't do that in the last 2 minutes, and yet the refs allowed it, and then they also called a timeout. So once again, thanks a lot, refs, for showing up. Terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible calls. Christopher Cole, how did they escape with the win? Very carefully, Christopher. Dave, Jensen may be the problem with him out with him out of the offensive line. That's a veteran presence. There's a reason why Jensen got paid all that money. That's a veteran presence that you're missing. And the offensive line has been scrambled this year. Let's face it. Lots of new faces. You have a rookie at left guard. Although I thought the offensive line did a pretty good job of protecting Brady today, keeping the pressure off of him. In fact, his start for the game, and let's go back to the first half, 14 for 20, 137, and he was just throwing it all over the yard. The Bucs were dominating this game. They should have been up more than 13-0 at halftime. But missed opportunities on fourth down, and that's what it is. Have long drives and you get stopped, that's what happens. All right, so let's go out to Roger Shue. Don't blame the refs. I did. Troy Polamalu, can you believe an injured Saquon is a better running back than a healthy Fournette? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if you watched the game today with Fournette. I think you're as blind as the referees, honestly. Because if you look at the statistics, with Leonard Fournette, 14 for 56. He had a 1 touchdown, his first rushing touchdown of the year. And then on top of it, he had 10 catches for 83 yards. What do you want? You had 2 different running backs here. Saquon is healthy. He's a healthy running back. Stop trolling. Let's go on to Cole. Cole, welcome to the Evolution after your Tampa Bay Buccaneers defeat the Atlanta Falcons 21-15 to move to 3-2. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are these officials suck.
Oh, yes.
I mean, they're not consistent. And the color commentators are just screaming for the refs to call things for the Atlanta Falcons, and they're not. It feels like everybody that plays that is a commentator for the Bucs is against the Bucs. It just feels that way. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Well, I don't think it's just you because I'm watching the same broadcast and I don't understand how the commentators are not going crazy after clearly Alford is face guarding Scotty Miller, makes contact before he gets there, and they're not losing their mind over a pass interference. But then they're losing their mind over the call afterwards. And now I understand it because it gives the Bucs new life, and basically the Falcons lost the game at that point because they had the chance to get back the ball. But be consistent. No, I don't think you're wrong in that assessment at all. I don't.
Right, and the holding call on the Atlanta, they were crying about that. Well, I would have let that go. No, you don't let that go. He had a hold of him beyond 5 yards. I don't care if it was 2 yards beyond 5 yards. Or an inch beyond 5 yards. He had a hold of him beyond 5 yards. You can't do that.
No, you can't do that. I mean, if you're going to call it right. Call it the way the rules state to call it. And that's what I don't understand about the announcers either. Of course, they want a close game. They don't want to broadcast they don't want a debacle like you've seen on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime, where people should have been asking for their money back after watching that on Amazon Prime.
Before Amazon Prime pays a boatload of money and puts Al Michaels, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, on that kind of, they should look at the schedule. The schedule on Thursday night stinks, with the exception of Thanksgiving. It stinks every year.
Well, it stinks because you're on a short week, Cole, and that's the reason why I think it's comical where the NFL says we care about this, we care about concussions, but yet you're letting players play on a short week of 3 to 4 days. That's ridiculous.
Right.
And of course the football is not going to be great. Do we love football? Yes. Do we love to watch football? Absolutely. But that was bad football.
The matchups are bad too. Right. The matchup, the Colts game, that was a horrible matchup.
Right, and going back to it, I think the announcers want a close game, and of course, you want a story. You want to see Tom Brady lose, I guess. But today, it's not the day, and I definitely
today was not the day. Thank God.
You're not the only one that was watching the game and paying attention to that. I just don't understand it, but.
I will say this. Let's not get too excited because let's be honest, we beat a bad team today.
Let's get excited. Why not get excited about a win? Because Cole, at the end of the day, you needed this win. I get it. I understand. You should have absolutely blew their doors off.
Atlanta had two passes go, one from Brady and one from their own quarterback that was on the guy's hands, and it was hands of stone and dropped down to the. If they catch that ball, that's a touchdown for Atlanta and an interception for Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their mistakes that cost them this game. And I'm not saying thank you for the win, Tom Brady, and thank you for the win, Bucs. Go Bucs. I'm not saying that, but they could have very easily beat us.
Yeah.
Sure. And because they're a bad team and they don't know how to win yet, we'll take the win. Thank you very much. But that's not going to work against Baltimore. That's not even going to work against the Rams, I don't think.
I'll agree. Absolutely agree with that. And the Bucs said they got some work to do and they need to figure it out. And we'll update the injury situation with 3 of the secondary players that went out. Of course, if you missed this, Carlton Davis went out with an injury. Sean Murphy-Bunting went out and Mike Edwards went out. So that definitely didn't help their causes.
No.
But we'll see what happens at the end of the day, though. Definitely had to eke out a win, and you shouldn't have. But you got to play a full 60 minutes. We talk about it all the time, Cole. What else?
Yeah, thanks. That was it. That was all I had, except for USF. I don't know what to say about USF.
I mean, they played a good game, right? But they're a team that hasn't figured out how to win. And they go to Cincinnati, you play a good game, you have a lead, you blow the lead.
Yeah, they go to Florida, have a good game. Go to Cincinnati, have a good game, and then you get you barely beat a team that you should blow out.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know what the future is. Are we going to stick with this guy or not? I don't know. And it's really tough. Yeah, it is tough because there's not going to be any players coming to USF because there's no future there. Yes, they're talking about a campus stadium and they're really pushing for that. But I don't think Scott's going to make it to that campus stadium if we keep, because he's been there for 3 years.
It's been very disappointing. I love Jeff Scott. I love to interview him. He's a great soundbite, and I want to see this team work out. But if you continue to lose, more than likely somebody is going to lose their job. And it's unfortunate because coming into the season, I know we're talking USF after a Bucs game, but that's okay. This is the Sports Web. Look, a lot of energy. I felt really good about USF. They've shown up at some games this year. I felt like they were going to get blown out by Cincinnati, so they put up a good effort, but they lose once again. So, yes, you're exactly right. It's a shame, but more than likely, if you continue to lose, Jeff Scott will probably lose his job.
About Jeff Scott? Like, if you let go of Jeff Scott, who's going to be there? That's my point.
Well, I mean, that's the point. I mean, who can you get at this juncture for USF? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the greatest program. I know they're trying to get a new stadium. You're trying to get recruits. It's the whole situation is just a mess, and I don't even know what the solution.
And you can't talk about a better conference because they're not beating people in their conference.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's
one thing if they were 3-0 inside the conference and getting beat outside the conference, but you're not even getting beat. You're getting beat by AAC teams. So. Sure. Anyway, thanks for the conversation. You're doing a fabulous job, Peter.
Thank you, CSB, brother.
Take care.
There, Cole. Let me go ahead and give you the Ric Flair.
Woo!
Let me give you the Byron
How about them Bucs, baby?
Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 after your Tampa Bay Buccaneers survive. Crazy, right? I didn't think they were going to survive. I thought they would win this handily, especially being up 21-0. All right, let's go back out to these comments. Again, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Christopher Cole, exactly, agree. Jensen definitely being out. Don't blame the refs. Who read that one? We went on that one. Saquon had a great day for the Giants. Very creative play calling by that offensive staff and Brian Daboll. Excellent job to upset the Packers earlier on this morning. London game. If you guys watched that, Saints just won. We talked about that. Bucs want to blame the refs and the hurricane. The up-tempo drive to start the fourth was ridiculous. I mean, I think that a lot of people will say that the Bucs in that fourth quarter went away from the running game and started to try to pass. And when you go, 3 and out 3 consecutive times, it puts your defense in that situation where they have their backs against the wall. And you're not able to stop some of those plays from happening. Missed tackles. We saw that creep up today in the fourth quarter. Overall, the majority of the game, I thought the Bucs defense really showed out. But what people are going to talk about with this game is that fourth quarter. And that's sad. because it kind of ruins the defensive effort that was put out there today. 5 sacks by this defensive line. Vita Vea showing up today. Logan Hall showing up today. JTS, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, playing the edge. I know there was texters last week upset, calling for JPP to come back. Of course, he can't. He's with Baltimore, and calling for Sue to come back. So the effort was there. And as Troy Polamalu was pointing out, did they blame the hurricane? I guess there was some blame to it, but I mean, when you have a storm situation and you can't necessarily focus on football, you have to focus on, possibly evacuating. And I heard this before the game today, listening to the great TJ Reeves and Dave Moore in an interview with Logan Hall, saying that he felt like the hurricane affected their preparation from last week. That's a player. That's a young player. So, enough with the BS from you, Troy, because I know you're trolling.
Shut up!
Trade Leonard Fournette. No, Brady has 40 wins over the age of 40. Amazing. Amazing. I know, Roger, you hate Tom Brady because he wins a lot, but just appreciate that. Can Bucs fans appreciate that today? Can they appreciate the performance? Even with all the off-the-field stuff? Are we done with saying that Brady has seen his best days? Because he's not. He's still an elite quarterback in this league. With those numbers today. Where's Harold? I don't even know what you're talking about at this point. Let's go out to Roger Shue here. What is SMB? Sean Murphy Bunting. He went out with an injury. Don't be a smartass.
Shut up!
Nee says, my favorite sports broadcaster. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Dave says, if Patterson was playing, this might have been a different game. That's it. You go into the game feeling pretty confident. The Bucs, they have their own fair share of injuries with, once again, Julio Jones not playing in this game. I kind of circled this game and thought, man, Julio Jones is going to be able to make an impact. But once again, knee injury. It hasn't gotten any better, and I'm not sure if it's going to get any better. And that's why I said yesterday on this very show from Beef O'Brady's, do not be surprised if the Bucs sign OBJ. Because we have seen what happened last year with this team losing wide receivers. And you can't afford to make that same mistake again. Because we know that Godwin is coming off an injury. We know that Mike Evans, which, by the way, he was money again with some of the catches he had. A beautiful fingertip grab in that first half to convert a third down. Huge. Great throw, even better catch. Shocker. Mike Evans makes a big-time catch when he needed. Shocker. This guy could be the best player in franchise history, honestly. Besides Brady, of course. Appreciate it. But you don't want to get into that situation where you're losing wide receivers. Russell Gage, still battling injuries, played pretty well today. So don't be surprised. Because Jones has not made the impact. He is not. And I'm not sure if he's going to. So we'll see if OBJ signs. We'll see. Don't be surprised. All right, but you're exactly right, Dave. Coming into the game, Atlanta doesn't have Cordell Patterson. They don't have Kyle Pitts. It could have been a different game? Absolutely, it could have been a different game. And this Atlanta team all year long, say whatever you want to about their record, they're a pesky bunch. Arthur Smith has them playing to the final whistle. He doesn't care. Do they have the best statistics? I mean, you look at it. With Marcus Mariota, 14 for 25, 147, 1 touchdown. Rushing, 7 for 61. We talked about it. That was going to be what they were going to do during this game. They're going to run the ball. That is their commitment to it. They're going to be committed to it. And the Bucs had a task today to shut down the running game. I think they did a pretty good job overall. But once again, the Falcons were able to get back into it. All right, let's continue to read these comments here. Christopher Cole says offense went to sleep in the fourth. Yes, offense went to sleep in the fourth. Defense went to sleep in the fourth. You know, it always comes down to it. It's a terrible cliche, but we always use it. 3 phases of a game: offense, defense, special teams. They all have to be in unison. If you have one of those facets that's not working out, with the offense going 3 and out 3 straight times in the fourth quarter, guess what? It puts the onus and the pressure on your defense to make a stop. And when you're missing tackles and you're losing containment, then bad stuff starts to happen. All right, let's go out to Troy here. Come to my house, get some barbecue, Pete. See you at work tomorrow, meeting at 9. We don't work together. I don't even know what you're talking about. Shut up! Let's go out to David here. D took their foot off the gas again, shaking my head. Bucs are an average team this year. Offense is a shell of last year, but it's a win. Hope they can build on it. I'm not sure if they're a shell. I just think, again, they have injuries. They have a new offensive line. They've had a lot of things going on. I'm not ready to sit here and say that the offense can't be better, but of course, they have to be better. You know, we're in week 5. Let's not think, you know, that the season is over with or that this team is worse than they were last year. I think the thing that is different is that they've had injuries and they've also had a change at offensive line. And it also carries over the defense. And we saw how the injuries on that defensive side of the ball hurt this team last year. Hopefully you're getting some good news this week about a Sean Murphy-Bunting or Carlton Davis or, of course, a Mike Edwards. Because right now they're injured. Let's go out to Dave. Yeah, we got the win, but it doesn't look like it. It's getting better. Dave says Miller play was pass interference. Brady call was a makeup call. Agree. Absolutely. I'll give you the Byron Leftwich on that.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Absolutely it was. Agree. Again, I don't think that was the right call at the time, but it was a makeup call. I just don't know how the refs missed that. I mean, clearly the defender's not even looking back at the ball. How do you miss that? Amazing to me. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 as the Bucs move to 3-2. They beat the Atlanta Falcons 21-15. 21-0 in the fourth. They get up 13-0 at halftime. Once again, you felt like they left points on the board. Cade Otton, who we mentioned today, had a big game, a breakout game for him. 6 catches for 43 yards. That's what you need out of the young kid, especially with Cam Brate being hurt. You're depending on a rookie. He made some big-time catches today for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team. Let's go out to Chad. I was happy for Scotty Miller, but he's got to do this every game, be more consistent. Absolutely. Agree with that.
How about them Bucs, baby?
He does. We know that he's got that speed. We know that he's got to catch the ball consistently. He did that today. Can somebody tell me anytime he catches the ball over the middle why he always falls down? Guy has speed. You got to get that yak. I noticed that a lot with him. And they took some shots down the field today. They did. And that's the component that you're missing out of this offense that you like to have. But in order to have that component, Miller has to catch the ball more consistently. Agree. Let's go out to Dave. Offense looked lost and D looked lost in the fourth quarter. This is a month into the season. What is happening? We are 17 to 20 points per game team now. Yeah, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. I agree with that. A little bit. Let's go out to Sean here. Another trash call. Sean says Brady is the only one who gets that call. This team has a habit of letting teams back into games. No killer instinct, no heart. You got to have more killer instinct. You got to, again, put that team away. And if you don't put that team away, they're going to come back. You leave it. You let a team hang out and hang around for a while. That's exactly what's going to happen, David. That's called Bucs football. Well, win's a win. So we'll take the Bucs win football, okay? Shut up! Let's go out to Jodell. Great job broadcasting. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Give me the
How about them Bucs, baby?
Kyle says, decent win. We let the Falcons get too close in the end. Hopefully the defensive injuries aren't too bad. Would love to see us get closer to 100% healthy. I'd like to see that too. Unfortunately, most likely it's not going to happen. Because as again, we've talked about it, we don't know the injury situation with Julio Jones. He didn't play in this game. Is he going to play all year? Who knows? Knee seems like it's a lingering issue. So we also had Gage play today, but he's fighting injuries. So, and then again, you go back to what we talked about. I think it's going to be a big story going into this week. That secondary, how banged up is it? Carlton Davis going out of the game, SMB going out of the game, and of course, Mike Edwards going out of the game. Let's see. David says, I'm sick of making excuses for this team for injuries. It's true they have key guys injured, but come on, guys, you have to step up and start making plays. You do. But it is earlier on in the season. No need to freak out. But I was disappointed also. When you're up 21-0, you want to go up 28-0. You don't want to let the team back in, and you do. Let's go out to Troy. So SMB was injured. Now he's back to being injured. Laugh out loud. No, I said he was playing, and then he got injured. He hasn't been injured the year he's been on the bench. But seeing as Logan Ryan didn't play in this game, they had to play him. So there you go. The Tampa Bay handicaps. That's just terrible. All right, let's go out to Christopher Cole. The refs have been ridiculously bad all year long. Roger Shue, agree with that. You're still blaming the refs. Bucs won. Shut up, be quiet, laugh out loud. Great show. Okay, I'll give you
Acknowledge me.
And I'll give you this.
Shut up.
Don't ever tell me to shut up on my show. Let's go out to Drew. A win is a win. Agree. Troy Polamalu. Has anyone drove through I-275 through St. Pete? There's so many dang curves and turns. Why didn't they build it? Just going straight, worst interstate in the country. I have no idea what you're saying at this point. No idea.
How about new?
Let's go out to David here. Why the same guys get injured in the back end from last year? The same guys who were out for half the season last year are now at it again. This is so frustrating with guys and their health. Absolutely. Let me go out to Troy Polamalu, USF. We did talk some USF. I know you're laughing about it, Roger Shue. Give me the Ric Flair. I'll give you the Ric Flair. All right, there you go. Roger Shue says, after his divorce, Brady will play till 65, get his Social Security and Medicare. Guy can still play. Can he not? He's still playing at a high level, right? So, yeah. I don't know. Somebody sending me some things while I'm on here. Let me just take a look at this. What is this? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Somebody sent me some Antonio Brown stuff. I don't care about that at all. That's another one right there. We don't need to talk about. Let's talk about this Bucs win. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Go back to the statistics here. 14 for 56 for Leonard Fournette. 10 catches for 83 yards. If you have it on fantasy team, you would be happy with that. Mike Evans, 4 catches for 81 yards. Godwin, 6 for 61. So not a bad day at all by the pass catchers, especially Leonard Fournette in this game. Let's go out to Scooter. Had a good day. He did. T. Corral, great show. Refs suck. They kept the Crows in the game. I'll give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucs, baby?
I'll give you the Ric Flair. Woo! Absolutely agree with that. Let's go out to Troy Polamalu. OBJ. Absolutely. I think it's certainly a distinct possibility. Oh, and look who decides to come in here, give us some analysis. And look, the link is out there. You guys want to be the star of the show. You only have to call in, but also you can text in and you can be on video. This guy right here did a show called The Cup of Ray this morning on all these platforms. Let's go out to him, get his thoughts after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take care of business over the Atlanta Falcons 21-15. Tampa Bay Ray, welcome to the Evolution, my friend. Your thoughts on this Bucs win? Not the prettiest, but still a win is a win, right?
It was a get right game. Loved the receivers showing up every time the rookie White's running it back, you're like going, hey, and the kid always runs to the sideline. And I'm telling you, one of these times they're going to cover the sideline. And he's going to find it, burst up the middle, and that kid's going to be gone. Peter, I got to ask you one question, though, if I can, because I have not seen it yet. What about this roughing the passer play? Everybody's saying it was a gimme and it should have been and all this, and we know Tom, sometimes he seems to get more calls than like a rookie or a rushing quarterback. Is it really as bad as I'm hearing?
I wouldn't have called it. I mean, I don't think it was roughing the passer, although if you look at the replay, it looks like the defender is kind of throwing Brady down off of another player. It looks like his helmet hits the ground, of course. Some people would say maybe he's trying to put him into the ground. I thought it was a makeup call because it was an egregious miss by these refs. The play before, as they missed the pass interference call, where Alford is clearly face guarding Scotty Miller, made contact before the ball gets there, and no call by the refs. So, yes, it was a bad call, but I think it was more of a makeup call by the refs.
Also, when the refs are all huddling up, am I the only person in the world that thought they wanted to try to get Leonard Fournette for lowering the helmet, and they sat and huddled for like 20 minutes, and they came back with a holding call, which is the safe fallback on any offensive play because there's holding on every play? Or was that me, or did it seem like that?
No, it definitely seemed like that. And the announcers kind of picked up on this, Ray, as they were like, well, that's all they're going to call. And I'm like, look, you can't call Leonard Fournette. He's a runner at that point. He can go helmet to helmet. He can lower his shoulder. And that was the impressive thing with Lenny today. And I think he's gotten better with catching the ball. Is that what you see with him?
Yes. I loved just also that sense of leadership you get from him. Like, the first year he came in here and it was, he was a problem child of Jacksonville. He came in here, became playoff Lenny and Lombardi Lenny. He won over the hearts of every Buccaneer fan, won over the hearts of a lot of NFL fans. Second year, it was like, okay, where are the Bucs going? We're going to have the victim of volume. Thought you'd never hear that one again. Or is it going to be Keyshawn Vaughn? And then, of course, Fournette wins it out. We have not seen yet. I really hope that it's just because of his injuries in the early part of this first season. I wish Ryan Jensen. I'm not putting Hainsey down, done a fantastic job, but I keep telling my son that if Jensen was in there, we'd be doing a lot more center pulls, and I think the running game would have already gotten off more, but I think that's something we can look forward to. Oh, you see the squirrels run by?
I do. I see them. And if Alexander were out there, we're on with Tampa Bay Ray, best of the Bay here on the Evolution. I'm your host, Peter Blake. After the Bucs take care of business over the Atlanta Falcons, 21-15 to move to 3-2. A lot of people upset that the score isn't more. I agree with them to a certain point because you're up 21-0 in the fourth quarter. But as I talked about, you have lots of moving parts on that offensive line. Are you concerned at this juncture? You're at week 5. I know you got a long season, but are you concerned about this offense going forward, or do you eventually think they will get it going and start to put teams out?
I tell you what, going into today, I was like too worried about it. But of course, the two big question marks is Kyle Rudolph ever going to catch a ball? I'm kidding.
Right, that's the squirrel got more action there than Kyle Rudolph. Yes.
But today, the thing about today is O'Keefe makes some huge blocks. And of course, I call for it. Go, if you haven't watched it, Peter, thanks for letting me run it on your Facebook page this morning. But go back and watch Cup of Ray. I call for K. Otten to be the big standout today. And so if you ask me about offensive line, I think I've never seen a Bucs unit under Bruce Arians since 2019. I haven't seen a Bucs unit in a long time. I think it's just because of the way they're playing, but tell me, Bucs fans, and you tell me yourself, Peter, every time after every play, somebody's coming up shaking, limping, or doing something. I think it's just that, we're going to round out into form. But with what we saw in O'Keefe and K. Otten, the two rookie tight ends today, and then Rudolph is going to get right, I think that this offensive line is going to do nothing but improve.
It has to improve. And again, once again, you have a big time lead, 21-0. You have to put you have to put them out. You have to continue to put the pedal to the metal, and the Bucs didn't do that today. Of course, their offense in that fourth quarter struggling, 3 and outs, and it puts the onus on your defense. And kind of saw some sloppy play from the defense, although I thought they were the star of the game. It's going to be disappointing because we're going to look back at this and say, you know what, the Bucs had a 21-0 lead, but it kind of overshadows what that defensive line did today by getting after Marcus Mariota with 5 sacks, including a Vita Vea, Joe Tryon Shayenka, Winfield there. So really some good play by the defensive line, but again, it's going to get overshadowed in this fourth quarter, right?
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that, Peter, because I was talking about today on the show when I said, hey, remember, everybody, this is a divisional game. Remember, it's about the journey as much as the destination. I talked about, the Falcons game in 2015 when the second game, so we completed a sweep when a rookie Jameis Winston finds second-year wide receiver Mike Evans, and Levante David in 2012 had a big sack to finish the game off in his rookie season. And I said on the Buck Cup Array, go back and watch it and share. But I said that, thank you, brother. And I said years from now, who will be the stars on this team that we'll look back to? And that's when I made the Kate Otten reference. But Logan Hall today, and then Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, and when Vita Vea gets in on, I guess they gave him a half sack on that, but at least it looked like he got the full. But then it got cleaned up at the end there. I thought I saw a face in Vita Vea that seemed to let go of a lot. I'm not saying he was frustrated, but he had a real aha moment there today at Raymond James.
You really did, and I thought Logan Hall today. A lot of people calling for Sue during the week, and I get it. Fans are emotional. It's tough to give up 189 rushing yards to the Kansas City Chiefs, but that defensive line today, especially a Logan Hall, really showed out, right?
Yeah, and then hats off to Carl Nassib, comes in here. I don't know if he's giving those guys financial advice, but comes in here doing exactly what he did before he got that free agent contract to go out to play for the Raiders, and he just. It's funny because he's not a very outspoken person on the field. Of course, we know he's a great financial advisor getting off the field, but he's just another one of those leaderships. I heard the Sue things this week, but no, Sack Avenue, the rookie, the Buccaneers have in Logan Ryan. I think that you saw it. Did you see today? I hope everybody realizes just how big Logan Hall. I'm sorry, just how big this kid is. He's got some size to him. I think I got to talk to James Canada about what he thinks about this kid. I know I have before.
Yeah, definitely. He's got size, and we've heard, during the offseason, he's a prototype, not only size, but also some speed and quickness, and he showed that today, not only getting a sack, but also making plays in the run game. That's an encouraging thing. That's exactly what this team needs, especially with the Hakeem Hicks injury. Speaking of injuries, a little bit disappointing, but it's the same guys. He can't control injuries, but Carlton Davis going out, SMB going out, and Mike Edwards going out. That definitely hurt the secondary, and you hope that doesn't carry over because we were talking about this defense last year, and what really hurt them is the consistent injuries in that back end. Yeah,
and, we always say that a front seven makes up for a weak back four or have you, or that, front seven makes up for a bad backside.
Right.
Back seven, right? But basically, by the end of the game here today, we had it seemed like walk-on. We had Rudy out there playing, and the injuries were starting to pile up. I think that the heat down in there, hopefully some of them were hopefully a lot of it was just cramping up or some other injuries. Once the team had the game in hand, I'm never saying that Bama's going to walk up the field if they don't have some type of injury, but maybe they're just like, hey, at one point we're up 21-0 and things are happening and let's get real. I'm always wondering if we're going to see, of course, today it ended up being a 6-point game, but my question, and I'm sure some Bucs fans out there were thinking it, okay, it's 21-0. When are we going to see Blaine Gabbert to get that finger that Tom seems to be playing with the sideline, or that, that mechanical brace he's wearing on that left leg? And it's like, I hope that Tom realizes that I want him to have all the success and continue. I'd love to see that cat make MVP in 2022. It'd be his fourth or fifth? Fourth. Maybe fifth. I'm trying to think. I know that Peyton Manning and, of course, Aaron Rodgers have the 4. But I really hope that he knows what's best for this Buccaneers 2022 team. And that is, if we get a big lead and we can put the throttle on, maybe even it'll motivate some other players to play a little bit harder in the third and fourth quarter if they know that the game's been handed over to a Blaine Gabbert because it's business as usual. Let's lock this one down and let's get ready for next week against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers with a rookie quarterback who got their doors blown out today by Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Did you think they went away from the running game in the fourth quarter, and should they have ran the ball? I get it. It's Tom's offense. It's Tom weapons. You want to throw the ball all over the field, but when you're not completing those passes and you're trying to have that tempo offense and you're not able to do it, do you feel like Byron Leftwich and the play calling should be a little bit more balanced, if you will, with that running game in Leonard Fournette?
Well, that's been, I posted again this morning on a couple of Ray. Go watch it and please share it. I'm going to pimp it. But we know that Bruce Arians isn't coaching his team. We know that Todd Bowles was created in the likeness of Bruce Arians. We know Byron Leftwich is the offensive coordinator. Of course, Tom Brady at the end of the day is going to call his own plays. But this is the disconnect. This is one of the things that Bucs fans, as we get ready to go to sleep tonight on another victory, first place, sole first place in the NFC South, I'd like to think that they would go to a heavier running game. with a Keyshawn Vaughn or with a White and go for some pitch outs, some easy things, even if, and then maybe let Fournette get the hard yards. And Giovanni Bernard. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see that cat again. But the thing is that the disconnect, some of us wonder who does it, because when it gets within 6 points, obviously you're going to leave Tom out there and they're going to continue trying to move the ball. But that wasn't being successful either, because the Falcons realized the Bucs were just going to keep going underneath. So they started covering the underneath stuff. And at the end of the day, Tom wasn't really wanting to throw too many things deep, except for the beautiful catch to Mike Evans, which by the way, wasn't that just a typical Mike Evans Hall of Fame catch on that big 26-yarder?
It really was, and moved the chains at that point. Perfect pass, even better catch. And then later on, he had a big play where Evans goes for 40 yards. Looks like he scores a touchdown. The Bucs went to review. Of course, the refs ruled that it was not a touchdown. Fournette gets a touchdown receiving, as we talked about, his big day, 10 catches for 83 yards and then some rushing there. But Mike Evans just continues to get it done. I mean, I don't know what else you can say about him. I mean, when you need a first down, that's the guy you go to. That's the guy they went to later on in that fourth quarter to basically close the game out, right?
Yeah, 8 years in the league, got Johnny Manziel a Heisman Trophy. I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make that. Hey, okay, he was a game manager with Mike Evans as a wide receiver there, the Aggies. But
it's pretty easy to throw the ball up, right? I mean, if you're Johnny Manziel, it's pretty easy to throw the ball up to Mike Evans, and Mike Evans is always going to come down with it. His catch radius is tremendous. He showed that today. He showed that throughout his career. Probably one of the greatest. I mean, there's no probably about it. One of the greatest Buccaneers of all time.
Not only that, but let me ask you, since you talk about that catch radius and 50-50 balls, sorry about the shake, and I'm getting it set up.
Yeah, please.
The one where Tom goes to throw the 50-50 to the back shoulder to Evans there, is that I think that's the shoulder. I think that we saw that with what Tom was doing today. He was right on, because I mean, I kidded around. I said, he's going to try to get back in the MVP race in one chunk. He had the type of game, an MVP is the most valuable player to your team. And Tom had the kind of game today that, not MVP by the stretch of the imagination with numbers and stuff, but from here on out, if he continues to start getting this offense right, and we start getting the running game and we get this offensive line, in a good place, and everything else is moving along. But at the end of the day, I forget where I was going with that. It was something about
at the end of the day, I mean, you've got to keep Tom upright, and he took some hits today that I think could have been more called for a 15 yards instead of what was called later on in the fourth quarter. But that's kind of what scares you right now. He's dealing with, according to various sources, minor rotator cuff injury, dealing with the finger. He was shaking his hand today. So again, I felt like the Bucs did a good job of keeping the pressure on him, but he's still taking some of those unnecessary hits.
If you've got to place a bet on the Buccaneers, and if you're Harry the Greek, hello out there, my friend. I know he couldn't make it in here. He tried this morning. He probably tried again this afternoon.
Sure.
But if you're up there, you go up there with $100. Not just as a Buccaneer fans, but as a realist of football and understanding this Buccaneers team. If you're laying $100 on the Bucs, and they're favored by 3 to win over the Detroit Lions. Okay. Mm-hmm. Tom Brady's your quarterback. Blaine Gabbert's your quarterback. Of that 100, how much do you spend if Tom Brady's your quarterback, and how much do you pull back if Blaine Gabbert's running this against the Detroit Lions? Just a question.
Yeah, I don't care about Blaine Gabbert at this point. Brady,
okay.
Brady 3 for 52, 351, 1 touchdown. Again, we talked about the distractions off the field. Didn't seem like it really affected him. Again, there were some instances in this game where the Falcons had an opportunity to get an interception. They didn't make the interception, and of course, the Bucs and Brady made them pay. I tell you what, let's go out to more of these comments. We're on with Tampa Bay Ray, best of the Bay. I'm your host, Peter Blake. After the Bucs defeat the Atlanta Falcons 21-15 to move to 3-2. Open phone lines if you want to call up. 727-255-0392. 0392. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm saying 0392. 0391 255 727-255-0391. All right. Too many injuries for the Bucs to win the Super Bowl. Not ready to say that yet. Refs are human, Pete. They make mistakes. They made lots of mistakes today.
Shut up!
Triple you can't wait till we fire Leftwich. Just another stupid T. Corral says Bucs O-line struggles are a part of the growing process until Brady can handle the abuse. I mean, let's talk about that. I mean, do you see those struggles sometimes with the rookie, with the penalty there with Shaq Mason, putting them back in a situation where instead of it's 3rd and 3, it's 3rd and 8. I mean, we've seen that this year. That's really hurt the offense, and it crept up again today when 4th down and 1, your offensive line needs to push. I thought they got a good spot. They didn't. They get stopped by that Falcon defense.
Well, if TJ Watt were playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, I'd continue to be worried about it. We played against Micah Parsons. We started off the season. We played against, the defensive line, the nose tackle, and also the other from Michigan for Packers. Even the Saints, of course, what they've been doing to us for the last several years. And, of course, against the Kansas City Chiefs, which, again, I'm not putting anything past them. But I think this offensive line – sorry, I'm losing your center. I think they've been holding up their own. I think that there's been some calls where a rookie or a second-year player missed a block entirely and literally just grabbed somebody. But I think they're also saving the fact that they, got Tom Brady in the pocket and they're going to go ahead and take that foul 10 times, 7 days a week and twice on game day. I think this offensive line is just going to continue. And again, like I said, Pete, the only reason why I let it, it's week 5's in the book. It's 3-2, sole possession of first. I'm starting to get into my head. What's this team going to look like when Ryan Jensen gets here? I still have hope that this kid's going to get it back in here. We never heard definitively it was all season. We just say, oh, it's the knee, it's this, it's more serious, it's not serious. We all thought it maybe be like week 10, week 8. Another couple of weeks, we could have Ryan Jensen back in there. And then now you got Robert Haynes to move to another position. Maybe after playing center for 6 or 7 weeks, maybe he's ready to just get into any other position and kid somebody.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say that yet, but I understand where you're coming from. We'll see what happens with Ryan Jensen. No word, and I know that's a question from Tim. Have we heard anything on Ryan Jensen? Not lately. Working out the kinks. What's the deal with Sue Hicks debate? Sue might be slower, but at least he's on the field every play. Best ability is availability. I understand that, but I also believe that if he was that great, and he was for the Bucs, but the Bucs obviously felt like moving in a different direction. They felt like Sue may have lost a step. And then on top of it, there have been other NFL teams out there that would have signed him. What's your take on this? A lot of people talk about Hicks not playing right now. Of course, he may be back in just a couple weeks here. Big part of that run defense and that pass rush. Where do you stand on the Hicks-Sue debate?
Well, the whole Sue thing was, don't forget, his last year here in 2021, he made just a flat $10 million contract. That's what it was. It was just $10 million. Here's your deal. $10 million a year before. I don't know what his price was going to be this year. I don't think that he's in a position. I think Warren Buffett's, and we throw that out there, but we know that him and Buffett are really good friends, and he's probably invested that money very well. I don't think he wants to come here for a veteran minimum. It wouldn't be that little. But I think the question is that a good general manager like Jason Light, as easy as it might have been to plug in Ndamukong Suh, maybe even bite the nut and give them the whatever with, next year's salary cap's going to go up and we'll find money elsewhere. We'll just raise the cost of the seats up in the crow's nest there in the south end zone. But yet you got Hicks was more of a luxury, and the thing on him was that he was injury prone, but not so much. And he's a monster inside. And then you bring in a Logan Hall. I mean, you really wanted to make that change because it's not just about 1 year all the time. Sometimes it's also got to be about the second and third and fourth year out. I think that's what Jason Light's doing.
I think that's what Jason Light's doing. I continue to go back to that play versus the Rams. You blitz him. He's one step slower than he usually is, and I get it. He made valuable contributions to this Bucs defense, but they went with Logan Hall. You saw that today. You saw the reason why they drafted Hall in the second round. We talked about that defensive line, 5 sacks, and they had to step up today. Look, that challenge was there. Even without a Cordero Patterson, they still have rushers there. Mariota was able to get out there later on. They lost some containment. We know that Arthur Smith is going to mix around those looks and try to run the ball because he's not going to pass the ball with Mariota.
And the thing is, they've got literally with Matthews and the other rookie this year, they've got 3 first-round picks.
Yeah,
they've got 3 first rounds on that offensive line, but yet the best play is going to be a pass action, rabbit run, pitch back, and more power to it. In fact, Mariota's probably, back in 2015 when he comes out of Oregon was just the kind of guy you want running that. Problem is, it doesn't feel like a professional style offense. I'm sure they're practicing it, but something also tells me God, I wonder if they're not itching to want to get the rookie out of Cincinnati, Ritter, in there, because you've got Ritter basically sitting there, and I know they want to do it right and give him his time, but there's going to have to come a point. They're only 2-3. They're second place in the South, but there's going to come a time where they're going to keep running the quick draw options and the trick plays with Marcus Mariota, or are they going to bring in the rookie who's the future?
It's a great point, but if you bring in the rookie at that point, I feel like you're kind of admitting that you're done and
right.
You can't, because you don't usually win with rookie quarterbacks. Ask the Pittsburgh Steelers today. They got their doors. We'll talk about that. And just
I think we'll see Trubisky this week.
Who knows? Weird how – well, you can't do that. See, here's the thing.
I know.
Committed to a rookie quarterback, you can't just put him on the bench because he played badly. Now you have to continue to go with him so you can, help his development. Because if you bench this kid, you not only mess him up mentally at that point. I mean, and then you're playing quarterback merry-go-round. You can't do that now. You're committed to this young quarterback. He's a rookie. This is going to be your future. You have to ride it out with them, and the Bucs will face him on Sunday, and you would think that would be an advantage. We'll see if it is against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Weird how we have 3 interior linemen, and yet Brady seems to up their game. I mean, that's the reason why he's the greatest of all time. He gets the most out of the players that are around him. Good, solid win, development type of day for the players. Agree with that?
Yeah, because again, I think you remember. Maybe I already mentioned
Squirrel by the way.
That's Squirrel, man. Because you said something. You said Alexander, and now that Squirrel's like, oh, Alexander, I got this. But again, I talked with James Canada I'll throw a little shout out, Big Game Sports Buzz. We got to get him on more, brother. You heard how he's locking it down there, Pete.
Yeah.
But I asked him, I said, so far in 2022, 4 games in, 2-2, and I said this already to you too, but what's our identity? We see a really good defense, a lot of injuries. Okay, great punter. I mean, we have the NFC. Do they have an NFC special teams player or rookie of the year? Because I think Jake Camarda, I love that kid's punts. I love the way he's a fighter. I love the way he tackled air today and then came up with an injury. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if you saw it, Pete, but I think that after today, I'm going to say that this Buccaneers team is starting to trend toward gritty. I think that's what we need to be. Need to stop making so many getting injured so much. But again, with Joe Tryon and Logan Hall and 5 sacks, and then Brady was just tearing them apart when he really wanted to there in the second and third quarter. So I think gritty so far is my motto for this. Motto for half the NFL this year anyway.
Going back to the first half, they were only up 13-0. Do you felt like they left points on the board there as the bird is starting to get in here on this?
Yes.
I thought a big play was right before there. The Falcons, they have an opportunity. They get a late hit on Vita Vea. They're in position. Drop pass by a wide receiver. If he catches that ball, he may be able to go to the house. And then after that, Winfield gets a strip sack, and basically Koo misses that 52-yard field goal. That gives the Bucs new life, of course, a short field. And then, of course, the Bucs settle for a 44-yarder from Ryan Suckup. Big play by the defense. Do you feel like before the half, the Bucs should have been out more than 13?
Yeah. Well, and not just that, but you talk just basically in sense of leaving points on the board. Can I please? Oh, hold on a minute. He's on the phone now. Hey, Byron. Yeah, Coach Leftwich. I'm sorry. It's Ray. Yeah. Yes. On 3rd and 1, can we not run a delayed draw? Can we not run up the 1 or the 2 hole? Can you not hand the ball to 260 pounds of Leonard Fournette on a one-on-one, let him run outside and see if there's a DB in this league that wants to try to tackle him? I don't understand why. The Buccaneers, how many times have we gone for it?
Well, why not? If you're going to run 4th and 1, and it's never failed, the quarterback sneak, I get it. Brady is a little bit banged up, but Brady is still a tough guy. You get that 4th and 1, and at the end of the day, it's also about your offensive line, getting that movement at that point, getting that momentum. They didn't have that today at some points, and I think that's probably been one of the most disappointing aspects. And when you get into that area of 31, 32, those are manageable. If you want to run the ball on 3rd down,
run it outside.
Well, run it outside, but your offensive line has got to do a better job of pushing that.
No, I mean, you're right. I'm sorry. I see what you're saying, but I mean, we've already established that this offensive line, this piece together, if you will, offensive line, although they've been playing together now for a month, so, they've been together long enough, but this isn't the line we were supposed to have going in this year, and Godecki, and of course, Hainsey, and where's Kappa? I'm kidding. I woke up from a deep sleep. Where's Kappa? I know. Yes. As a free agent. But the thing is just, I'm not – look, I get it, mano a mano, the machismo that goes with art, our 11 guys are going to line up against your 11 guys, and we're going to run the ball down your throat. I get that. That's football. That's literally what football was invented by and for. But if they've got 10 in the box and Leonard Fournette's in the backfield and the world knows you're going to give it to him he went up to 1 hole this time, stopped for a 2-yard loss, or the 2 hole, why don't you extend him out a little bit or pitch it, throw him out to the 6, throw him out to the 8 or the 7, and watch a 245-pound Leonard Fournette. Give me him in space. You tell me what football player in the league that you give Fournette the ball in space and they're both going at the line from the same distance at an angle that you don't think Fournette's going to power over for a yard.
All right, so we got some comments here. I got to get to that. Speaking of running backs, I want to get your thoughts on Rashard White. I mean, you look at him in the rushing game, 5 for 14, nothing to write home about, but I think his impact, and we've seen it earlier on in the season, 3 catches for 28 yards. Talk about that young man and his play.
That's probably, it's silly to say this, but that's been the most New England Patriots type of offense that we've seen so far since Tom's came here. And I say that with my tongue in cheek, but yeah, a running back who's coming out of the backfield straight up and down, doesn't flinch much, he's a straight up and down guy, which is why I get Sador now always compared him. Said he kind of reminded him of a Eric Dickerson, the way he runs up. Yep. But he's got those hands. He doesn't catch it like a running back. He catches it like the rookie running back out of Arizona Wildcats, who was 33% of his team's passing game. He catches like a receiver and then bury the lead. He's got the speed of a very elite running back. So I like what I saw today, and we're definitely going to be seeing more. Once that genie got out of the bottle, there's no way to try to put it back in there.
All right, we're on with Tampa Bay Ray, best of the Bay. It's the Sports Web, your post-game edition after your Tampa Bay Buccaneers take care of business over the Atlanta Falcons, 21-15 to move to 3-2. Once again, I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's read these comments. Edward says, looks like Bruce brought back his red pen. Not ready to say that. T says, D-line is okay, but still leaky yards. Mike says, what's going on, fellas? What's going on with you? Talk about the Chicago Bears. I don't know what happened in that game today. Go ahead. Feel free to call in. Or if you want a video in, Mike, feel free to do that. Let's go on.
Yes. Join us, Mike. Join us.
Brian Leftwich abandoned the run, or was it Brady? That would be Byron, not Brian. We asked that. I mean, your thoughts. I mean, did he abandon the run, or was it I don't know if you know if it's Tom Brady or not. Did they abandon the run? I think they did to a certain degree. I think the Bucs have been guilty of that throughout the whole process.
100% they went away from it, because then the moment they went back to it, they handed it to Fournette, and all of a sudden, there's 14 unfound yards.
Right.
And then a play later, he gets another 10 yards. So you're thinking, hey, if he would have had 20 carries today, would he be over $1.50, $1.60, averaging 5-point-something yards a carry? Kind of get that feeling. And that's what, okay. Dak, that's not getting called down from Bruce Arians up in a luxury box. But, at the end of the day, I don't think, Edward, that BA is still coaching this team. No, he's not. I say that.
He is. I know. Our left guard has been getting killed. We've seen that, of course. The rookie.
Godecki, yeah.
Gedecki.
It's Godecki.
Is it Godecki or
no,
Gedecki?
It
was Gedecki.
I heard Pat and Aaron on the Pat and Aaron show. They're locking it down Monday through Friday, 12-3 on WDAE, and this was one of the shows one day. It was, is it Godecki or Gedecki? But I think we're right either way. I
believe it's Gedecki, and Hicks is trash. Hurt every year. That's from a Bears fan right there.
That was Roger Shue.
Roger Shue, yeah.
Okay.
That's
acknowledge me.
Edward goes, at least if we had Sue, we know we would be available on Sundays, I guess. Peter said he wants to get Draymond Green jersey. I'm actually going to give you that.
That's actually pretty good.
Harry says, both you guys are nuts. As
these
the Greek would, will you shut up? Of course, we have to get him call. Hey, listen, you know the phone number. If you think I'm nuts or you think that we're talking nonsense on this show, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. If Tampa Bay would have ran the ball more this game, it would have never been as close as it turned out. I agree with you. They have to run the ball more, but we know that the Bucs have the tendency to want to throw the ball all over the yard at that point, even up 21-0. So, and you have faith in Tom Brady at the end of the day. But is it always the best game plan? You get the win, but it was a little bit closer
Well, hey, going into the half, we're even at the end of the first quarter when Tom's when he's 9 for 12 for 100 yards and he couldn't miss. They're catching everything, and that's after that beautiful Mike Evans catch. There's part of me, I'll be honest, for the first time this year anyway, there was really part of me that was like, all right, Tom, unwind it today. Let's go ahead, because he talks about a game on the perfect moment. It's on Apple against Buffalo, back in 2008, where he came out and you couldn't miss. I mean, you couldn't miss Brown, couldn't miss the throws, everything all night. It was crisp. Actually started to kind of see that happening with Tom early in the game. He couldn't miss. Every throw he was throwing was precise, and the guys were picking up on the other end. Then I started seeing what seemed to me like guys that weren't completing their routes. I'm talking about you, Gage, or, Scotty Miller almost got that big one. That wasn't pass interference. That defensive back turned around at the very correct moment. If he doesn't turn, you get him for face guarding.
Wait a minute. The play when they call Brady or they call Grady Jarrett, you didn't think that was interference?
Wait, I'm talking about the pass interference down the sideline to Scotty Miller where he was covered.
Yeah, that was pass interference, in my opinion. The last drive there where the Bucs get the benefit, the guy makes contact, not only face guards him, but makes contact before the ball gets there. It should have been pass interference. It was not, and I think that's the reason why the makeup call. But go ahead, continue.
Okay, no, you know what? I'm not sure we're talking about the same play because I only watched enough.
Well, there was another play, and the defender got his head around at the right time. That's the one I saw. Right. And and Scotty Miller was holding his head because he was like, he's going to try to get that. But at one time, I really thought at least that was one thing. Even with the finger, even with the whatever, Tom Brady's head was in this game today, and it seemed like all the players were in this game. So if you're just asking me for my overall feelings as to what I take away as a positive from this game, is that 53 stayed on the same exact page and they took care of the task that was at hand. And again, I mentioned this morning talking to you, Pete. By the way, nice Horace Copeland drop this morning, brother. Wasn't that nice? Isn't it nice to talk a little bit of Buccaneer history you get for their Cup array? It is, and people are just like, you're just like a meat puppet or something. You don't know what you're talking about. I've watched plenty of bad Buccaneer games, plenty of great Buccaneer memories. And, of course, if you want those Buccaneer memories, not only tune in to this show, The Evolution of Sports Talk Television on Amped Up Sports, I Love St. Pete in the Hub, and also like and subscribe to the Sports Web. And I guess we lost Ray there. We lost him with bad Wi-Fi, but also tune in to the No Quarter Given podcast with my buddy Jason Powers on Sports Podcast on the buckpower.com podcast network. If you want a little history, because I got it all for you here on the Evolution open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Yes, talking some Buccaneer history this morning on A Cup of Ray, talking about this Tampa Bay Buccaneer win. Got some calls today, but you guys are kind of, silent. I don't understand it. Thought there'd be more calls here. Thought you guys would be a little bit happy that the Bucs get the win. I get it, not the prettiest game at the end of the day, but a win is a win as the Buccaneers move to 3-2. They defeat the Atlanta Falcons 21-15. Let's go out to Tim. 2022 Buccaneers win ugly. LFG, ask for calls. You shall receive them. Ed using his second call. Welcome to the Evolution. What do you have to say, my friend?
Hey, my friend, I heard the crickets. I figured I better call in.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought I had more calls at this point with everybody excited about this Bucs win, but, a lot of people are not happy about it. A lot of people are just silent at this juncture. I get it.
Well, I think understandably they got mixed feelings about it, but, at the end of the day, and this is what people need to understand, is the NFL, you play who you play.
Yep. Agree.
You play who you play, and, we played good enough to win, but could we have played better? Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, and you've got to, and I get it. It's week 5, but you've got to play a lot better than this if you want to beat the elite teams in the league. And we even saw, the Green Bay Packers who beat the Bucs just a couple weeks ago, 14-12. We talked about it. Those mental mistakes come back to haunt you when you get your defense doesn't come out right away. That haunts you. Today, it haunted the Packers because they didn't play a complete game. And they let the Giants win that game. So good for the Giants at the end of the day. Couldn't stop Saquon Barkley. Good for him. That's a good story. And I'll tell you right now, I've been very critical of Daniel Jones. I don't necessarily think he's the greatest quarterback of all time, but he also played his ass off today with some of the with some of the plays, leading the Giants down to long drives, and also his mobility, making plays on the run. That was also the difference. And it was the play calling today to beat the Green Bay Packers. So any given Sunday, you can lose a game, and the Bucs were fortunate today to win this game. Although the majority of it, they dominated. That's the kind of win you got to have. But if you have them at 21-0, you got to put the knockout blow on them, and they weren't able to do that in the fourth quarter.
Exactly. I was at a sports bar in Clearwater, and a Giants fan walked up to me and he goes, "Hey, you guys are playing good, but you guys need to watch out for the Giants, man."
Good for the Giants. I'm telling you right now. And the key is, again, the play calling by Brian Daboll. I think he's done a tremendous job. He gives that team a lot of energy. It was a complete debacle last year with Jason Garrett running the offense. You know, Joe Judge, he may have been, he might as well have been Mike Judge, right? The creator of Beavis and Butthead. Right. I mean, it was that bad with the play calling last year. And now they finally got a play caller who is a proven commodity from the Buffalo Bills. And they also got a healthy Saquon Barkley who, let's face it, if he can be healthy, and he went out in this game, came back, but if he's healthy, he definitely gives you a different dynamic to that Giants offense.
Did, by any chance, Godwin get shaken up in the third quarter? Because I didn't see him.
Looked like he was a little shaken up, but he came back in. They were resting him, and they were still being careful with him. He did play very well today, I thought. Kind of almost getting back to his old self, if you will. 6 catches for 61 yards. Made some great catches, as he always does. I tell you what, Ed, let me go back out to Tampa Bay Ray so you can talk to him. Tampa Bay Ray is back. We got Ed on the line. Ed, go ahead and talk to Tampa Bay Ray, best of the Bay.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm good, brother. How are you today, Ed?
I'm good. Very excited. Very happy about the win.
Okay.
Does anybody know what the time schedule is on Brian Jensen?
You don't play a doctor on TV, neither do I. The Holiday Inn Express last night. I don't know that answer at this juncture. The Bucs have been very quiet about that, so I don't know what the time frame on Ryan Jensen is.
I will tell you this. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Tampa Bay.
No, I was going to say, I'll tell you this. I was in North Carolina on vacation. That's the very first day of camp. The very slight twitch and twist of that knee by a blocking lineman who got rolled on from the backside. And I thought, I said right then and there, I said, that's not going to be a full season. It's not. It looked to me like a 4-week, maybe a 6-week. And, of course, they get him to the season to put him to the IR, knowing that he's eligible to come back any week after 6 weeks or 4 weeks. But I'll tell you what, Ed, I honestly, again, I haven't heard anything to say yes to this or no to this, but I truthfully think, we just haven't seen him at the facility doing anything. That's probably the biggest question, because you'd see him on the riding a bike or something. Maybe. Yeah. I keep thinking we get him back by week 10. I think he's there week 10.
All right, let me tell you what, Ed, what else?
Yeah, that's my biggest question, because it's clearly the offensive line can really use his help right now.
Definitely could absolutely use his help right now. Of course, the young center and Robert Hensey, definitely. And then, of course, you got the rookie there and a Luke Gedeke at left guard. Yes.
They're playing their butts off.
Right. They have their fair share of breakdowns, but absolutely they're playing their butts off. I mean, offensive line-wise, how did you feel like this offensive line played today, Ed, in your opinion?
I give them a high C.
Okay.
I'm probably being too nice, but...
Right. Ray, I don't know what you got in the background. What is that?
Yeah.
Ray's got something in the background. All right. Thanks a lot, Ed. Appreciate it.
It's a palm tree.
No, some sound in the background. Let me give you the Byron Leftwich.
Oh, it's my. I was just listening.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll get you out of here for a minute until you get that taken care of. We can't have something on in the background. It's distracting me. Good stuff, Ed. Thanks a lot for the call. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. We'll go out to Ray in just a moment whenever he's ready. Let's go out to Bucs Dad 101. Rashard White had a great game. Absolutely. You could see the young man right there developing into a pass-catching threat. which is what this offense has needed and the reason why you draft him in the 3rd round in the first place. Let's go back out to Tampa Bay. Ray, we talked about it. Rashard White had a good game. I like the young man. I like his speed. Of course, don't put the ball on the ground, and you'll see more playing time. No one fears the run defense anymore. I'm not ready to.
Oh no, because remember
that.
Most of the runs that were going on today was fake it to the 1 back, fake it to the 2nd back, fake it to the 3rd back, and then Mariota, who's got pretty good speed, would just whim it around the outside. So what they did, especially if you take, I think that was half of their rushing for the entire game. You take that one Marcus Mariota rush back, which is, again, it's what this guy did at Oregon. And the Bucs are going to play that kind of defense. And just like Monty Kiffin used to say, just like Lovie Smith says, I agree to the same thing. Even Todd Bowles adheres to the same thing. Bend in the middle, but don't break on the ends. And they might get a few yards here and there, but when it got, you get inside, they had run, and they had that, of course, they had that 3-foot tall little running back that got that one touchdown. And that guy was so scat fast and running inside. I don't think anybody could see him. Hats off to that guy at rookie making his first touchdown. But I still see a team that's, if you don't fear this Buccaneers run defense, you're making a big mistake.
You're making a big mistake. I agree with you on that. Let's go out to Buckstad 101. Release Julio and Hicks. Bring Sue back. A lot of people talking about Julio Jones and the disappointing thing. He's not able to play consistently. But, of course, it's an injury situation. We don't know the extent of it. We also feel like there's a reason why Julio Jones signed that $6 million contract, because maybe the Bucs anticipate him making an impact later on in the season, because he hasn't been able to do it in the first part of this season.
And what was it? Because my son Tristan asked me today, and I think I told him wasn't it a core muscle? It was a
there's knee swelling. That's what.
So it wasn't an oblique.
His knee continues to swell, and they continue to worry about it. And of course, we heard this a couple weeks ago from Jay Glazer of Fox Sports that he could possibly have a torn PCL. So,
that's right.
And look, I love Julio Jones. I think he's seen his best days. I thought he could make an impact. Everything you heard coming out of camp, it's not necessarily working out. And I feel like if it continues down that road, that possibly the Bucs are going to have to sign an OBJ.
Oh, I know. I heard you talking about that the other day, Peter. And as much as OBJ, give it to that guy, with name, image, and likeness and transfer portals in college. I've never seen a campus visits like what he's doing. And, more power to him, OBJ. He's not back from that injury yet. I'm sure he's doing the rehab. He's doing that ballers rehab and getting it ready. But, why not? Okay, I'll show up in Dallas and talk to the Bucs and the Cowboys, and then I'll fly to London, or I'll go to SoFi, my home stadium. And hats off to him. He would be a terror to bring in here and to have that. I don't know. I was looking for Julio to be another real big, tall receiver on the outsides, another Mike Evans, and be able to use that speed. We saw a little bit of it with Russell Gage. And, man, I'll tell you what, there's something else I got to talk about just while I'm rambling. Chris Godwin. So glad to see him get back into form today. And now you see why he makes the money he makes. He does the dirty stuff in the middle, and god damn, doesn't it feel good.
It does feel good, and that's a big component of what you got to have. You got to have that offense. You still have Evans. You have Godwin. I think Gage still fighting his injuries. We talked about Julio Jones. Skyler Miller getting an opportunity for Rashard Perryman out of this game. So that's why I say if Julio Jones is not going to be the impact that you thought when you signed him, why not go after an OBJ, take advantage of not only the possibility of winning another Super Bowl, because you have the best opportunity to do that with this offense and with Tom Brady. I know there's a lot of Bucs fans that don't think that's true, but anytime you have the greatest of all time at the controls, you have the best opportunity, but also take advantage of their relationship, right? All we've heard that OBJ admires Brady. He thinks of him as a mentor. Get that guy down here. Start recruiting Tom Brady, because again, if Jones is not healthy, you don't want to get into that situation again where you're basically down to depending on guys that you don't want to depend on. I'm not saying all these wide receivers are bad, but if you're down to Godwin.
You're saying Rashard Perryman. I know you're saying Rashard Perryman.
And Jalen Darden. I like them. I like them more as, 4th, 5th, and 6th wide receivers, not 1 and 2s.
Here's the thing. So there's so much to be said for the team that this is it going to end up having been a once in a generational team, this team in 2020 that just out of nowhere, it was Brady, and then blows the horn and Gronk comes, and then we get Leonard Fournette because the Jacksonville Jaguars are stupid, and Antonio Brown when he's going to be back from suspension in October, week 8, and just a collection, and already had Godwin and Evans on this team, and Levante and Devin and Vita Vea, but such a great team, and I just hope bringing in Julio, I think that he does get healthy at the right time, and he is going to make contributions, I hope. But then if you go after OBJ, I mean, if that's the style, if that's what it takes to get guys that are playing with Brady, if just having one in the room, the greatest of all time and leader to get you pumped up to play, if we need OBJ just got a championship with the Rams last year. It's not like we're bringing him in here hungry. I think he's a phenomenally talented receiver, and after he gets back on that knee and he shows he's rehabbed at full. But at the end of the day, I just like to think that between Godwin and Evans and Gage and Rashard Perryman and then hopefully a Julio Jones, I like to think we already got that fix in-house, and I guess we'll have to see.
And again, we'll have to see what the injury status is. But if it continues that Julio Jones is hurt, he's not doing anybody any favors at that point. So Bucs Dad 101 feels like release Julio, Hicks, and sign Sue. Misador says we honestly got we got to thank the striped jerseys as well. They did get the benefit of that call at the last of the game. But then again, you could have gone back the other way and say, you know what, that should have been pass interference. It was a makeup call. That was 100% pass interference. He full-bodied him there. Thanks a lot, Misador. Troy Polamalu, Ray is gone. He got attacked by a squirrel. Once again, fake news. Roger Shue says, acknowledge me.
Acknowledge me.
I do that. Roger Shue says Justin Fields had a better quarterback rating than Brady today. Is Roger spewing once again nonsense? Because this is what you get, Roger. Want to go out to I Love St. Pete, Tim? Witherspoon says 3-2. Let's go. We'll fire the cannons for that. Tim also says that was a bad call against Brady, but how did they call holding against the defensive lineman on Atlanta drive or the holding against Winfield Jr. on the touchdown play? That's your refs for you being consistently awful.
And what was up, Pete? What was the thing where the Bucs were going to go for it on 4th down and down there, and for some reason the refs came in and stopped the ball, and Tom Brady was like real pissed. It seemed like that he was giving the Atlanta team a chance to make substitutions and be ready for that.
They're not able to make those substitutions, Tampa Bay, Ray, because in the last 2 minutes, and that's why Brady kept on having the 2 out, not because it was 2nd down,
right?
Because in that last 2 minutes, the Falcons should not be able to make that substitution, and the refs allow it. And then on top of it, they allow them to call a timeout. It looked like the Bucs had something going there. They were
right.
catch them with their pants down. Of course, it wouldn't help with Ryan Suckup trying to be the running back. So I think the Bucs went on the field anyway. And barking. That's okay. We love animals on this show. Alexander.
You know who that is?
Yeah, who's that?
Saquon Barkley.
Oh, geez. That's horrible. Let's go back. I love St. Pete here. Didn't hear any word on Ryan Jensen. We talked about that. And Sitton says, good first half, bad second half. I tell you what, I think Ray is gone. Well, Ray, any final thoughts here on the evolution of sports talk television after the Bucs take care of business?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you again, brother, for coming on with me this morning. Also for building that show for me. It meant a lot. Loved having you on it. Look forward to doing that a lot more next time you come on down to Krabby's on the Pass. Sorry, it got a little crazy here, but the dog comes out here. She is the queen of her jungle. So, yeah, I'm going to jump back in the pool here, crack another one open, and celebrate this Bucs win. And I look forward to talking with you this week, brother.
Absolutely. We'll be live on the evolution of sports talk television, my brother. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks a lot for doing all your shows. Let me give you the Byron Leftwich.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let me give you the Ric Flair. As it is Victory Sunday night here, Victory Monday tomorrow. Thanks a lot for your time here on the evolution, all right?
Thanks, brother. Love you.
All right, love you too, brother. All right, there we go. Tampa Bay Ray from his backyard domain, if you will. And I don't know what's going on with my dog in the background. So we may have to kill the show here just a little bit earlier than we want to, because I don't know what's going on. But again, his dog Ruth, my dog barking in the background, have no idea why. But it's a Bucs victory. And even though it's not necessarily the prettiest result, it's still a victory. As Alexander is in the background now barking for some reason. Makes no sense. Okay, so that was funny. That was, we already read that. And Jason says, a lot of work to do still, but a W is a W. Agree. Absolutely, a W is a W. To go back to the statistics for the day here. Hold on. The dogs are celebrating too. They are. Alexander knows. Ruth knows. Everybody knows. The Bucs won 21-15 over the Atlanta Falcons to go to 3-2. The Pittsburgh Steelers are up next in Pittsburgh. Let's go back out to the statistics here. Tom Brady for the day, 33 for 52, 351, 1 touchdown. Leonard Fournette, 14 for 56 with his first rushing touchdown. Thank you very much, Mr. Fournette. As I got you on my fantasy football team, as you said a couple weeks ago, we got to get some touchdowns for those fantasy football owners. So good stuff there. Once again, Leonard Fournette killing it in the passing game, 10 catches for 83 yards, another touchdown. So 2 touchdowns for Lombardi Lenny today. Mike Evans, 4 catches for 81. Chris Godwin, 6 for 61. Cade Otton with a breakout game, with Cam Brate being out with injury. 6 catches for 43 yards. Scotty Miller, 4 for 35. Rashard White, 3 for 28. Russell Gage, 2 for 20. Defensively, leading the way here, Antoine Winfield Jr. with 7 tackles. Of course, 1 sack, which I thought was a great sequence there by this Bucs defense before halftime. Because it clearly looks like Atlanta has all the momentum at that juncture. Again, the Bucs are able to get a break with the wide receiver for the Falcons dropping the pass and then getting the strip sack there where Mariota recovers. That puts them basically out of the red zone. More difficult field goal range at that point, and Koo misses a 52-yard field goal. First time, by the way, the Falcons will shut out since 2007 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How about that? The defense really showed up today. 5 sacks, including Winfield Jr., as we talked about. Vita Vea. Sanat got 1 there. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, I thought, played very well. You had a couple times there. Devin White just missed a sack here and there. Let's see here. Look at his quarterback rating and shut up, Alexander. Don't tell my dog to shut up.
Shut up!
You shut up. Let's see. Happy belated birthday, buddy. Thank you very much. Appreciate
How about
that.
them Bucks, baby?
Thank you very much. Let's continue here as I lost my place. Zion McCollum had to come into the game, 5th round pick, because the big story of the day, besides the Bucs winning, of course, is the injury situation with losing a Sean Murphy-Bunting, Carlton Davis, and of course a Mike Edwards later on in this game. Of course, the Bucs up 21-0. They win 21-15 as the Falcons come storming back. Falcons side here, Marcus Mariota, 14 for 25, 147, 1 touchdown. Also led the Falcons in rushing, 7 for 61. Tyler Algier, the rookie out of BYU, 13 for 45. Caleb Huntley, 8 for 34. So still over 100 rushing yards. And Avery Williams, 3 for 11. He had a touchdown in this game. Zacharias, 2 for 39 for 1 touchdown. Drake London, the impressive rookie, 4 catches for 35 yards, made a splendid catch later on in this game. And besides that, I mean, not much to write home about. They had Felipe Franks playing for Kyle Pitts. If you know who Mr. Felipe Franks is, former Florida Gator quarterback. Pretty funny. Kyle Pitts, former Florida tight end. Now Felipe Franks, former Gator quarterback, playing tight end for the Falcons. You can't make this stuff up. Overall sack situation, the Bucs kept Brady clean for most of the day. And then the other stats of the day, you look at the numbers. This game should have been a blowout. Total yards, 420 to the Falcons, 261. Passing yards, of course, we talked about it. Brady with 351, 69 rushing yards, 151 rushing yards for the Falcons. Still too many rushing yards by that Bucs defense. First downs, 26-19. Third down conversions, 9 for 16 on offense. Still defense having a little bit of a difficulty, but a lot better than against Kansas City last week when they went 12 for 17. Kansas City was converting that. Today, Atlanta 6 for 14. Of course, fourth down, they go for it with Marcus Mariota getting the sneak there, 1 for 1, and no turnovers in this game. Time of possession, very, very similar, if you will. Let's go back out to these comments here. Let's see. That's where a lot of the missed penalty. That was my favorite. That was favorite for the Bucs. Absolutely. Troy Polamalu. See you at work tomorrow, Pete. No, you won't because we don't work together. Once again, nonsense and fake news is your forte, Troy. Of course, the Thursday night game will go around scores around the league in case you missed it. A awful game as the Colts win in a barn burner 12-9 on Thursday Night Football. Today, 9:30, a little bit better of a game on NFL Network. Giants beat the Packers. Surprisingly, they are now 4-1 in this game. Like I said, Daniel Jones making some plays with his feet. Got to give credit to where credit is due. Saquon Barkley was the man today, over 100 rushing yards as the Giants beat the Green Bay Packers 27-22. Thanks a lot for showing up to the Detroit Lions. The Patriots win 29-0. Chargers come back and beat the Browns as the Browns had a lead in this game. They lose to the LA Chargers 30-28. Texans beat the Jaguars in a surprise of the day, 13-6. Steelers get their doors blown off. Jason Powers, you owe me wings. I gave you the 14 points. It did not matter. Of course, Josh Allen also joins quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes from 2021, Brady Marino for passing for 400 passing yards, 4 touchdowns against a Steelers defense. It does not get done. He becomes the 4th quarterback in NFL history to do that, as once again, the Buffalo Bills win 38-3. Jets beat the Dolphins. Jets, Jets. It's been a great day for New York football teams. They defeat the Miami Dolphins. Teddy Bridgewater going out of this game with, once again, a head injury. Dolphins can't catch a break. Jets win 40-17. Vikings beat the Bears 29-22. Titans beat the Commanders 21-17. Saints against the Seahawks 39-22. Defense optional in this game, obviously. Scores around the league right now, 49ers 17-9 over the Panthers. Eagles having everything right now, everybody saying they're the best team in the National Football League, having all the difficulty in the world to take on the Arizona Cardinals, winning 14-10, but a much better game than a lot of people anticipated, I believe. Cowboys 16-10. Of course, Cooper Rush at the starting controls versus the Rams, who were completely embarrassed on Monday Night Football, versus the 49ers 24-9. Now down to the Cowboys 16-10 at halftime. Of course, the Bengals and Ravens later on tonight on NBC, Sunday Night Football, and of course the Raiders and Chiefs on Monday Night Football. So without further ado, let's go ahead and end it off there. We'll be back tomorrow night here on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. Like and follow I Love St. Pete, the Hub, and Amped Up Sports, and like and follow the Sports Web as your Tampa Bay Buccaneers take care of business today. An ugly win, but a win is a win. So let the victory Sunday.
How about them Bucs, baby?
Let the victory Monday.
How about them Bucs, baby?
And heck, if you want to, let victory week.
How about them Bucs, baby?
As they beat the Atlanta Falcons 21-15 to go to 3-2. The Pittsburgh Steelers are up next. Thanks to Tampa Bay Ray and all the callers. We'll be back on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. How do we end it off? Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And Bucs fans, it's your time. Have a great night.